Hi there, my name is Ethan Hartman. I'm 20 years old. I've been volunteering with No Stone Left Alone for 7 or 8 years now, and today I'd like to talk to you about my great-grandfather, Dudley Bertram Fryer, who served with Canada in World War I. As a part of the 2nd Canadian Mounted Rifles, my great-grandfather fought in battles such as Arras, Vimy, Ypres, Passchendaele, Amiens, Cambrai, and the Pursuit to Mons. He was fortunate in that he survived the entirety of World War I despite all of these battles, and he was wounded in the Battle of Cambrai quite badly. He took a gunshot wound to the side of the head, but he survived that and then also survived the Spanish flu, which he got on his way back home. But he managed to survive all of that and then was able to return home back to his family. Due to the traumatic nature of the conflict he had been a part of in Europe, my great-grandfather never really spoke much about his involvement with the war when he returned home, and that led to essentially his stories of heroism and involvement being lost over time. And especially for my grandma, she never really heard anything from him about what he had done in the war. All it was to her was a box of mementos and his medals and a letter. And that letter was very much a key to us starting to kind of piece together his story, because we figured out this letter was written by him to his brother just after the Battle of Vimy Ridge. And the letter details that he went over the top facing enemy fire and captured multiple Germans in a hole. And just reading that letter and being able to piece it together and figure out where it was from, that kind of was the gateway for us to research more about him and to figure out what else he had done and the stories that existed and how he had contributed to the war effort. And that involved lots of archive searches and going through old war records and tracking things down. And eventually we were able to piece together his story and then take my grandma in 2017 along with the family to Europe. And we went to all the battlefields he had fought at, and then went to the 100th anniversary of the Battle of Vimy Ridge in 2017. And just being able to be there and be a part of that and know that I had an ancestor who fought in that battle and survived, it was just a crazy experience for me, and it's something I'll never forget. And being able to see my grandma there, seeing it for the first time and really understanding the magnitude of what her father had done, it was really a great experience. I think it's really important that youth get involved in Remembrance Day ceremonies and activities and just remembrance in general, because there are probably so many more people like my great-grandfather who were heroes in the war and have these stories of courage and heroism that have simply been lost over time because they were never told, or there's nobody left to tell them, and they're fading and maybe will never be told again. And so I think it's really important that we work to keep the memory of these heroes alive so that their stories can continue to be told and we can continue to acknowledge the wonderful contributions they made to our war efforts, no matter what war they were in. And I think it's just really important that we get the next generations of youth involved in that so that these stories can continue to be told.